Hey guys, welcome to Alfista. Here we are in the 2023 Giulia Quadrifoglio, and in this video I will give you guys a demo of the infotainment system in this awesome vehicle. If you happen to be on the market for a 2020 or newer Stelvio or Giulia, this is the infotainment system that is going to come with the car. So let me show you guys from an owner's perspective what this system is like and give you guys a walk through all the different features that are on here. So we're going to start off by saying that there's a couple of ways to interact with the system. So you have a touchscreen right here that you can use to go through all the settings. You can also use this rotating knob right here in the center console to play around with the system as well. So you can see you can cycle through different things. To select something, you can just push down on it and that'll bring up that specific setting. So to go back to the home, you can just hit this button right here and that'll take you to the initial screen. You also have this other button right here, which is for settings. You hit that and that is going to take you to a settings page, which is that one right there. As you guys notice, there is a bit of a lag between the time when I hit that button and when it shows me something on the screen. Now, I should start off by saying that if you're getting this car for the infotainment system, then you're making the wrong purchase, because this is not the car that it's all about the tech. This car is about the driving experience. So if you want something that has snappy infotainment system and all the bells and whistles, then this is not the car. And I'm sorry to disappoint you there, but if you want something like that, you might as well just go get a Kia or a Hyundai or something like that. You're talking here just Italian engineering, having a racing background, so they care more about the driving experience than anything else. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on with the show. Let me go back here to the home page. With this button right here, you can rearrange things on this screen. So if I hit this right here, it's going to show a different layout. And then I can go ahead and let's say that I want to move this vehicle information over to the right. I can just tap and hold there, and then I can drag it and move it to another place and just let go. And that repositions that specific widget. Then you can just go back and it'll be in a new location. All right, so that's how you do it. Another way to do it is to just tap and hold it and it'll go back to that same screen, and then you can do the same thing. You can move things around just like that. Okay, that's how that works. When you're done, you can go back here and just hit the home button, and there you go. So you'll notice that you have 3 items on here, right? 3 different widgets that you can fit in this screen. If you want to expand, for example, one of these, not all of them can be expanded, but if you see this little square box right here on the corners, that means that you can make this larger. So if I hit that, you can see that it's gonna take up 2/3 of the screen, so this becomes larger. You're also gonna notice that there's a couple of buttons here on the right, or little circles, that indicates that there are more pages associated with this widget. So in this case, we have 2. Right now, we're on the first one. If I swipe up, then it goes to the other page right there. Now, if you want to go ahead and shrink this back down, then you can go ahead and hit this right here in the top right, and it takes it back to the normal screen. So now let's go ahead and start going through all of these items on here so you guys can get a better perspective of what they are. So the first thing that we have here is the radio, of course. So let's go ahead and go in there. Right now I'm on Sirius XM. Obviously you can select the different sources. In this case right here, we can tap the source and you can choose like AM, FM radio, and you also have options to hook up external USB devices as well as Bluetooth and auxiliary devices. Okay, so for each one of these options, right now I have Sirius XM. You may see different things listed on here. So as it relates to Sirius XM, you have, for example, your favorites right here. Okay, you can see here all the different items that I have favorited. In my case, you can edit them over here. Okay, that'll show you different things to reorder your favorites, for example, delete favorites or add a current station to favorite. Okay, let's go back over here and let's go back one more time. All right, right here allows you to do a replay. So if I hit that, it'll go over here and give me an option to go back and listen. Let's say I like a particular song that just played and ended. I want to go back and listen to it again. Then you can go back and kind of rewind to listen to that again. If you want to go back to the live or the song that's playing right now, then you can just hit that right there and it starts playing the song that's on the station right now. Okay, you also have this right here, which is going to show, you know, the list of all the channels that are available. You can see right there, it's quite a bit of them. Okay, you can also hit this right here, and that allows you to go through the different categories. Okay, you can search that way. All right, so that's how you do it. Let's go back over here. Let's see what else we got. We got these 3 dots right here. If I hit that, this gives me more control. For example, if I want to do a direct tune into a specific station, I can go ahead and punch it in right there and do it that way. All right, we also have feature favorites right here. You can go into that. Haven't really played around with that too much, but you can see here there's quite a bit of more information right here. Let's say you're into sports, you can go into the game zone and take a look at, you know, different sports on there. Okay, yeah, so you can see more information there as it relates to Sirius XM. And right down here we have the different stations. Of course, these are my favorites so far. And to favorite a station, all you have to do is first you find the station, right? Let's say I want to favorite this station right here, and I want to put it right here on number 11, the next available slot. Then I can just go ahead and tap and hold this right there, and that will become a new favorite for that particular channel right there, that station. So that's one way to favorite a station. You also have something up here, which is, if you pull down from the top there, you're going to see this right here. Okay, so this allows you to record stations as well as other things. So for example, let me go back over there. So for example, I can tap this right here. Say I want to add something. It gives me the option to add a radio station. I can add a destination. So let's say you frequent a certain restaurant. You want to store that as a shortcut. You can add it there. You also have your connected devices. If you go into there, you can create a shortcut for making an SOS call, an assistive call, or for the Wi-Fi hotspot if you have those paid services. All right, let me close this right here. So we'll move that out of the way. By the way, let me just do one of these to show you guys. I'm going to say add new, and then I'm going to say, for example, an SOS service here. I'm going to say SOS call. So that's going to be configured to that. So if I ever, you know, I'm in any particular screen, I want to quickly get there, I can just pull down from it, and that will always be available no matter where I can navigate in the system. If for some reason I don't want to have that anymore, I can just tap and hold there, and I can go ahead and delete this. Okay, you can also rename it, as you can see on there. If you tap on this settings right here, let's see what we get. In that case, it takes you to this entertainment system settings page right here. We'll take a look at that in a little bit, but that's more information about the radio, screen brightness, and seek mode, and all those kinds of things that you have on here. Okay, so let's go back again. Let me exit this. Right now, you notice that this is in full screen. If you want to get out of it, you can just hit back right here, and that'll exit that full screen. And yeah, so to change the stations, you can use this button right here to go to a different station. You can mute right here or unmute, you know, so however you want to do it there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next item, which is this performance pages right here. And this gives you pretty useful information. For example, you can see the oil right here, the PSI on that, the boost PSI. You can also see the torque on here. So let me just go ahead and tap on that, and here you can configure the different settings. Okay, I'm going to use the knob. This guy, I'm going to switch back to using the knob. As you rotate it, you can see the different selections that are coming up right there. Okay, if I want to select any one of these, I can just hit the push down on the knob right here, and that'll take me there. Okay, and then you can play around with these different things on here. If you ever want to go back, you can just push this to the left like this, and that goes back like that. All right, and let's go ahead and take a look, for example, at these technical gauges. If I hit that right there, you can see that it's showing me different information about the car. You know, you can see the PSI on the oil, the boost for the turbochargers, and the torque right there. Okay, let's go ahead and go back one more time here. I'm going to go down here to consumption history, and this shows you your fuel consumption history. In my case, it's not showing anything because I haven't been driving the car. It's just sitting right now, and the engine is running. But as you start driving the car, then you will start seeing information on here. All right, so let's go ahead and go back over here again. Efficiency drive. Now, this is the Quadrifoglio version. I never use this setting here. I don't know anybody that would on a 505 horsepower vehicle, but anyway, I'll show you guys anyway. So this is what it looks like right here. It'll show information about the efficiency drive. All right, there's different things on here. You know, I never use this setting here, so I don't know much about it, honestly. But let's go back over here. Let's look at the torque vectoring. You can see here, this is a rear-wheel drive car, so it sends power to the wheels that need it most, especially when you're taking corners. You can read more about torque vectoring. We're not going to go too much into that right now, but let's go back over here. Let's keep going down here. This is talking about temperatures. Okay, so you can see the temperature for different components. Right now everything is looking normal. As you can see, you have blue for cold, white for normal, and then this orange or red color for the you know, when the components are hot. For example, you may have the engine showing a specific color as you start driving the car, and this, you know, the drivetrain may show a different color, and that's how you're able to see, you know, how the car is doing. So this is useful as well, especially if you are tracking the car. So let's go back one more time and let's look at the next setting on here. We have drag race. So if you like to take the car to the track, then you can take a look at this right here and do your 0-60 times and 0-100. You know, you have the quarter mile, eighth mile, all of that information on here. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. That's pretty much it. There's no more information on there. Okay, so let's go back and see what else we have. Notice right here we have all these different dots, as I was explaining earlier, right? These are all the different pages that you can see on there, right? So you can also scroll through them from here as well. All right, now we have this vehicle information. Okay, and it gives us here a summary on the next oil change that's needed right here. Okay, so if I hit that, it's going to take me to this screen right here, and this basically shows, for example, the maintenance schedule. So right here it will show how many miles you got left until you are required to do an oil change, and this shows you how many days you have left. Okay, so in my case, I do my own oil change. This just hasn't been reset here. It's a little bit of a pain to reset it, but if you want to learn how to do your own oil change, just check out the video card above, and that'll show you guys a step-by-step on how to do an oil change on this car. Next, we see here that it says that the tires are okay and the engine oil is okay. So this is also checking your tire pressure right here. The next item that we have here is this guy, which is the oil. And this is just a side note. If you get the 2-liter engine, 4 cylinders, that means you will not have a dipstick in your engine bay, and you will have to rely on this right here to check the oil level in your car. Now, if you get the Quadrifoglio version, which is the 2.9 liter 6-cylinder engine, you do get a dipstick which you can use to check the oil level manually. And you can have the option as well to come in here and check the oil as well. So this is looking good right now. Let me go back over here. We have the different DNA modes. Okay, so this is where the exciting part comes in. You can see here the different options that are, you know, either turned on or off depending on the mode that you're in. Okay, if you're familiar with the DNA mode, DNA stands for dynamic, normal, and advanced efficiency. Okay, and you also have the race mode in the Quadrifoglio version of the car. Right now I'm in normal mode. That's the default mode. When you first turn on the car, it will always default to that mode right there. If you want to look at the other modes, for example, if you go to advanced efficiency, again, I don't know anybody with a Quadrifoglio that will do this, but you can see what happens when you do advanced efficiency. Okay, this is perhaps useful if you're doing very long drives on the highway. Then you can use this advanced efficiency here. Otherwise, I don't see the use for it. But you can see here what happens when you do that. Okay, now let me take a look at the N mode. That's what happens there. You can see dynamic here. Some things are more sporty, for example here. All right, there's obviously no limiter here for the engine torque. And if you have here the race mode, you can see here even more sportiness happening there. All right, so let me go back over here to normal. Okay, and by the way, right now when you're tapping this here, this is not really changing anything in the car. This is just giving you information here in the infotainment system. If you actually want to drive in one of those modes, you have to go to this selector right here to change the mode that you're in. Okay, right now it's in normal mode. This is showing here the letter N right there. You also see here in the dash where there's a letter N right here. Okay, if I want to switch to a different mode, let's say I want to go to dynamic mode, I can just move that up right there. You may hear the exhaust note changing there a little bit. Okay, and that's what the dynamic mode looks like. Let me do it one more time so you guys can see. You can see there's a different picture that gets shown. Let me go back to dynamic there. You can see it turns red. You can see the letter D that shows up right there. Let me switch it to, for example, the A, advanced efficiency. You can see there that the picture looks different. Everything turns green. So let's say that you want to go to race mode. Then you're going to go over here and you're going to first you put it in dynamic mode, and then you turn this knob to the right and hold it there until it shows that it's in race mode, and you're going to see this right here. Okay, and that's what it looks like right there. Okay, everything turns yellow. And now let me go ahead and go back over here to dynamic mode, and then I'm going to switch it back to race mode. Okay, I'm going to switch it back to race mode right there. You can see there what it looks like when you put it in race mode. All right, so let's go back over here and let's go take a look at what else we got here. The next item here is the user manual. Okay, so you're gonna have a notice here. You're gonna hit OK, and then it's gonna take you here. All right, so let me show you guys what we have here. So we have, for example, you can search by typing in what you want to look for. So in my case, let's say I want to learn about the lights in here. So I'm gonna put lights. Okay, and as you start hitting those letters, it's gonna you know, show which options are available here on the keyboard. So I can say here G and then H for lights. Then I'm gonna hit T, lights. Okay, so here I have different things, right? For example, it says bulb type for exterior. Okay, let's hit that, and it's gonna tell me information about what type of bulbs it needs, you know, the wattage and so forth. And this is great information which supplements what's in the user manual. So let's go back over here. You can also search by image. So if I hit that right there, I can either go here and select one of these guys, or I can select one of the numbers here that gets shown in the vehicle. So let's hit this one right here and see what happens. It shows me here different options. Let's hit alarm and alarm activation. Okay, so you can read more about the alarm and, you know, all those things. All right, so that's what you have there. All right, let's go back. Let's go back one more time. All right, so that's it for this screen right here. Let's go back here. All right, so let's look at some more of the other screens over here. You can see right here the climate control. So you can hit this right here to take a look at your climate control systems. One thing that I have noticed is if you live, for example, in a hot place such as Florida, when is the summer is the hottest, I've noticed that I do have to set my AC pretty low. For example, I can set it to like 70 or even 68 or something like that to get the cabin to cool down really well. Okay, it still, you know, feels really comfortable when you're there, but I did notice that compared to other vehicles I've owned in the past, I don't have to set it so low to feel comfortable. Okay, but aside from that, no issues with the HVAC system. It works really well. You can set different things on here. For example, you can change the fan speed, everything, all the controls that you have here, you know, you'll also have right there. Okay, so basically right here you can turn it off, set it to auto. You can set the air circulation to be either manual or off. You know, like right there is automatic, right there is manual, and right there is off. You can obviously set here, this is dual climate, by the way, dual climate control. So if you change it on one side, right, it's just going to change that side. Especially if you start changing it here on the passenger side, then that's going to apply to that. If you want to sync it back up, you can either hit this button right here, or you can also hit it right here on this knob. All right, so if I do that right there, that's going to put it back. Some of the other things that you have here is like this right here regarding the seats, and this right here is just showing what you can do here with the seats. You can heat the seats here. You can also heat the steering wheel right there. Okay, and you also have these options right here. Let me get this out of the way. You have these options to do the same thing here. For example, if you want to do a heating of the seats, you can hit that right there. Notice that that's changing right there on the screen. You can see the different modes right there. Okay, you have the heated steering wheel. Right now it's probably not going to work because it's hot outside, but that's how that works right there. We have the same thing for the passenger side. You can set it from there, or you can set it from down here. So it's up to you how you want to set that. Okay, let's go ahead and go back over here, all right, and see what else we got. And by the way, if you want to look at climate control, you can also hit this number right here. If you hit that temperature number, then it's going to take you back to this screen as well. All right, so let's go back. The next thing that you have here is this driver assistance. So let's take a look at what we have here regarding driver's assistance. And the first thing that we see here is this active blind spot assistance. And this is useful, especially when you're driving and you have a car coming up on your side here. This is going to alert you. Right here, you can turn it on or off. Here you have the settings on what you want to do. For example, you can have only warn you, or you can have it to warn you and also take action. For example, it helps you to keep stay in your lane right here. Okay, so warning and keep. And when you do that, then you have more options here to say how sensitive you want the system to be. You can also use, you know, how strong you want it to work. You know, and what it is referring to there is basically you're gonna feel like a tug on the steering wheel when you try to move into that lane. It's gonna try to resist, you know, that lane change for you. Okay, so you can change those settings right there. All right, I'm gonna go back here and just set it to warning only. That's just how I prefer it. And here we have the lane keeping assistance. Again, you can have different options here. For example, in the settings, if you wanted to only warn you about lane keeping, or you wanted to warn and keep, you have the option there. Okay, so if the car notices that you start to leave your lane, it's going to try to keep you in your lane, but you still have to you know, keep your hands on the steering wheel. And the way this works is that as you start to leave your lane, the car will warn you through the speakers, and it will also vibrate the steering wheel as you approach that lane marking, and it will try to keep you in your lane. But eventually, if you don't do anything, and obviously you're going to leave that lane. It always requires the driver to be alert. So let's go back over here. Go back one more time here. So the forward collision warning, this is also going to help you in case you are about to collide with another vehicle in front of you. This will either warn you, or it will also take action to try to brake and prevent the collision. Now, it's not guaranteed that you're never gonna get into an accident. You always have to use good judgment, but this is definitely handy. Okay, so let's go in there, and this is here if you want to turn it off. Let me go ahead and cancel. In the settings here, you can select it if you want it to warn and brake for you, and you can also change it obviously if you only want it to warn you. Here you can check the sensitivity, basically how close will it get to the car in front of you before it'll, you know, take action and start hitting the brakes. So let's go back over here. All right, let's see what else we got here. We have driver assistance right here. This is useful, especially when you go on long drives. I just did a long drive in this car, 1,500 miles. I'll probably be making a video about that here soon. And this will help you to, you know, kind of remind you when it's time for you to take a break. You will see an icon right there up here on the screen. It'll show up right here, just telling you, hey, take a break. You know, you've been driving for a while, and so on. Okay, so this also has different sensitivities that you can set here. All right, intelligent speed control, and this right here is to you can do an offset for the speed limit. For example, if you have cruise control set up, it will try to obey the speed limit, and you can set an offset right here. For example, you want to go under the speed limit or over the speed limit, you can change this setting right here. Okay, so that's how that works right there. The next thing that we have is traffic sign recognition, and this traffic sign recognition basically, as you're driving the car, you're going to notice that it's going to show different icons right here for the speed limit that the car sees. You know, the car has a camera here up here that is detecting is reading basically the traffic signs, and it'll show there. So for example, if you go into the school zone, it'll show on there that is you're in a school zone. It'll show the different traffic signs on there, and again, you have different settings for that in here as well. So it'll either just show it to you or start blinking and so on. Okay, so let's look at what else we got here. This is for your speed limiter. Not sure who would use this or what this may apply to, but maybe you had a teenager and you wanted them to obey the speed limit. Obviously they can defeat this by going in here and changing it, but anyway, this is here in case you want to set the speed limit here. Park sense will help you assist you in parking. It'll show how close you're getting to objects that are around you and other cars that are around you as you park the vehicle. Okay, and you can select here different settings as well. Let's go back and take a look at what else we got here. This is the backup camera. Okay, so the backup camera, you can either hit view if you want to look at the backup camera now. That's what it looks like. And once you're in this mode, then you're gonna have to hit this button right here in the middle to go back to the previous screen. And here you have the camera delay in case you wanted to delay before it shows the backup camera. And these are the guidelines if you wanted to show the guides of where the car is gonna move, in which direction it's going, etc. This is gonna show those lines in the backup camera. Okay, so let's go back over here. So what else we got? Automatic high beam. So this is useful, I guess, if you don't live in an area where it's low lighting, low street lighting. You may use this, and it'll automatically turn on and off the high beams depending whether or not there's oncoming traffic. Next, you have here the restore driver assistance settings. So here, this is going to reset everything to factory. All right, so let's go back, take a look at what else we got here. The next item is right here, your map. So this right here, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna basically have different options on here. You can set a destination, you can look at your frequent places that you visit, you can favorite different things, you can add points of interest and different things on here. It also has different options here to look at. For example, that's a normal, this is 3D, and this right here is 2D. Okay, so you have different settings for that as well. And you can have this in full screen like this. You can also have it occupy 2/3 of the screen by hitting this right here, as I showed you guys earlier. That'll show 2/3 of the screen, or you can reduce it to just 1/3 of the screen like that. All right, we're not going to go too much into the maps. You all know how to use the maps. Most people are either using Google Maps or some other map service to use that anyway, but I do like this system. I like the way it's set up. Next, let's take a look at the phone right here. So if you have your phone connected to the car, then you're going to have either Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto come up here, and it will show you different things for you. In my case, this video is not about that, so we're not going to be hooking that up right now, but that's what this is right here. So let me go back. And next we have this connected services, and these are mainly things that you pay for. You have this vehicle activation here. If I go in there, data connection temporarily unavailable, please try again later. So this is something that I don't really go in here and visit too much, but if you wanted to pay for some of these service, you do have the option on here. You also have this Wi-Fi hotspot. Okay, you can purchase that as well. We have this SOS call in case
SOS call not successful,
and then you have this assistance call that you can have as well, and these are different options on here. I don't really use this right here, but in case you're interested in that, you can look into that right there. The next thing that you have here is the settings. Okay, let's go into the settings. And this shows you a lot of information about the different features on the car. We're gonna start looking at the lights right here, for example. And here you can see the headlight sensitivity. And this right here is gonna, turn on and off the lights depending on the lighting conditions. And you can adjust as how sensitive you want that to be right here. You also have the headlight delay, headlight off delay. After you get out of the vehicle, lock it. How long does it take for the headlights to go off? You can set that, change that right here. Okay, we also have the headlights with wipers. Okay, that's what's going to come on. If your wipers come on, it's usually indicating that it's raining, so your headlights will automatically come on. So you can do that here as well. Okay, you have flashlight. You'll have this flashlight with lock. Okay, this is if you want the lights to flash like it's indicated here when you lock the car. Daylight running lights, that's your lights right here. Okay, and then your greeting lights, this is just going to turn on the headlights as you unlock the vehicle. Then you have your interior ambient lighting, and this is a cool option that lets you control how bright you want your interior lights to be. And there's different lights in the interior of the car that you can control from here by setting this option right here. Okay, so let me leave it there, and let's see what else we got here. We can restore everything to factory settings by doing this right here. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to hit cancel, and then let's go back over here. Let's see, we have units and language. Okay, I'm in the US, so it's showing this right here, English, and you can reset things right here. We have the clock and date right here. Okay, you can set it up right here however you want. I like the 24-hour format, but basically that's the options that you have there. Passive safety, this is going to show you, for example, when you put the car in park, do you want also to apply the electronic brake, which is this right here, this button right here. So if I were to have the car in drive, for example, and then I release the brakes right there, then I can drive the car, and when I'm done driving, then I can hit park right here, and you'll notice that they will automatically apply the parking brake. Okay, so that's what that option is. If you don't like the parking brake to be automatically applied, then you can turn this option off right here. Okay, I like to leave it on just for safety. Brake service, this is if you're about to perform brake service on your car. This is what the tech will do at the dealership, or if you're going to do it yourself, you're going to go in here and go ahead and enable that. I don't recommend that you do this unless you're performing brake service, because otherwise you're not going to have any brakes. Okay, so just be careful with that. And then yeah, we can reset everything here. Okay, let's go back. Let's see, we have convenience and control. If you click on that, you're going to see here easy entry. So this is basically going to move the seat back and forth when you enter and leave the vehicle. Okay, so that's what that is for right there. You have passive entry right here. This is for the locks right here. So basically, if you have the key fob on your person, you don't have to press the buttons, like I don't have to go in here and tap on these buttons to open, to unlock or lock the vehicle. I can just have that on my person, and then it will allow me to unlock the vehicle, or I can just lock it as well, as long as I have it on my person. So the next thing that we have here is the sound horn with remote start. Okay, so when you remote start your vehicle, that works by tapping this button twice, then it's going to sound the horn. So you can have that enabled here or not, depending on your desire. Here you have auto on driver comfort, and this right here is useful. For example, if you like to remote start your car, and let's say it's a very cold day outside, I think it's below a certain degrees, like 30 some degrees Fahrenheit, it will automatically heat your seats, and I believe it will also turn on the heat in the car so that it's ready for you when you come into the car. And you can do the same thing for remote start. Okay, you can do it for all stars, or you can turn it off. So it's up to you how you want to use that. And this is the wireless charges notification, and that right there is for charging your phone, which is, there's a slot right here. When you slide your phone in there like so, it's going to show an indication here, like a notification that your phone is being charged right there. You can see that right there. Okay, so that's what that is for. And then the next thing you have here is the reset everything to the comfort settings, reset everything to factory defaults. You can do that there. All right, the next thing that we have here is the doors and locks, and for this here you have door lock in motion. So as the car starts moving, once it goes past a certain speed, it will automatically lock your doors. You can have that there. Unlock all doors on exit, so that means when you go ahead and leave the vehicle, does it unlock all the doors or just the driver door? So it's up to you how you want to set that up right there. Door unlock on entry, so same thing. If you are coming into the car and you're the only person who normally drives the car, you could probably set this up to only for the driver doors. That's just for safety. And then you can also have all the doors, so it's up to you there. Sound horn with lock, so this is what will happen here. If you hit the lock button twice, in my case, if I hit this twice to lock the car, then it'll sound the horn. If I just press it one time, it will not sound the horn, or you can turn that off. Okay, so it's up to you. Auto relock, so this is will automatically lock your doors if you happen to unlock it accidentally and you don't get into the car. It will lock itself in after a certain period of time. Okay, and then here we can reset everything here to the defaults. Let's go back over here and take a look at what we have here. This is the cluster, and this right here is the warning buzzer volume, and this is basically the sound that you're going to hear from the speakers. Okay, so for me, low is good enough. I don't need it higher than that, but you can play around with those right there. You have trip B right here if you want the trip B information to show up on the dash or not. Other than if you don't have this enabled, then it's only going to show trip A. Here is show phone info. Again, you can play around with this information here. If you have an incoming call or messages, it will show information there on the dash. Okay, that's what that is right there. Okay, show audio info, same thing here. Do you want that to show in the cluster right there? If I turn that on and off, you're gonna see here Sirius XM coming up. Okay, I'm turning it on and off. You can see right there. Same thing with the show nav info. As you're driving, it'll show like what your upcoming turn is. So this is useful if you are driving and you're not looking at your phone or not looking at the screen, you're just looking directly in front of you. Then you can just quickly take a glance down here. You can see when you're about to come up on a turn or something like that. Okay, that's what that is right there. Let's see what else we have here. Audio nav, digital speed on all screens. Okay, so this right here, I believe is when you have different screens right here that you can see in this cluster, and depending on the screen that you're on, like this, it'll always show your whatever the speed you're going at. So notice that I'm changing the different screens, but it's always showing me the speed right up here at the top, okay, no matter which screen I happen to be on. All right. The consumption bar, this is the bar that's going to show up at the bottom there, showing you guys how you're doing your fuel consumption. There's this bar that will show there as you're driving the car. Right now I'm parked, so it's not really showing much, but that's what that is right there. Okay, and then you have the performance pages right here. You can see what happens depending on which drive mode that you're on. Let's say that you're right now in normal mode, and then what will show in that case. You can see that when you're driving in normal here, I have this set up to just show the instantaneous consumption. Okay, you can change that. If you're in dynamic mode right here, you can change to show the gauges or the G meter. Okay, so different things on there. Okay, if you're in race mode, you have options for G meter, gauges. Okay, so it's different things that you can set right there. All right. The custom areas, so these are different areas on the screen. You have the upper left, upper right, bottom right, and this just shows what do you want to show in those areas, right? So in my case, the upper right, I have the temperature, the outside ambient temperature. On the upper left, you have the time right there, and then on the bottom right, you have here the distance to empty. Okay, so how much fuel I have left. So that's what you can go ahead and do in here. You can change those to show different things on those areas. Okay, you can change those settings there. Let's go back over here, and then last thing is to restore everything to the default values right there. Okay, the next item that we have here is the infotainment system. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in there and see what we got here. So you can set the screen to off. Okay, you can hit that right there. So if you ever want to forget about the tech and just have the awesome driving experience that you get from this car, that's what you do. You just shut that off and forget about it. So if you want to go back in, you can just hit this center button right there, and that'll bring you back. Okay, the display brightness, we can go in there and you can obviously set it to auto. In my case, I have it to auto, but you can set it to manual here, and then you can change the display brightness here. For example, during the day, you can set it to different settings right there. Okay, so let me go back and set it to auto right there. Okay, let's go back over here, audio. Let's see what we have for audio. So you can control all the different settings for the stereo system. You have here the bass, the treble, mids, balance, and so forth. You can set all those things on here depending on your needs or desires. Okay, so there's a lot of customization that you can do here. So let's see for example, let's look at the bass right here. You can set it, higher value, lower value, however you want right there. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the home page. Okay, in the home page, what we get here, we can again shut the screen off. We can display the brightness, widget reorder. This is what I showed you guys earlier, how we want to reorder things. We already took a look at that at the beginning of the video. Widget size, widget resize is basically how you want the widgets to appear by default. So if I wanted to have my music to show up a little bit larger, I can just hit that right there, and by default it'll show like that whenever I start the car. So that's basically what you do there. Next, let me go back in there. We have here the widget content. Okay, if I hit that, we're gonna see what we want to have in each one of these. Okay, so if I go here, if I hit this guy, I can just cycle through what content I want to show. Okay, right now I'm just rotating this knob to select the different screens that I want on there. Okay, so that's how that works there. Same thing with this performance pages. What do I want to show? I can just select it there, but that's what that is there. So let's go back. What else we have here? That's basically it. There's nothing more on there. Okay, let's go back over here. Next thing we have is Bluetooth. So with Bluetooth here, you can have your phone hooked up right here, and you're gonna have different things that you can do with this phone right here. For example, you can set priority device in case you had multiple devices connected to the car. You can see here different things that you have on here. Okay, you can also remove the device. Let's go ahead and go back over here. By the way, if you want to add a new device, you can go over here, hit this button right there, and then you can go ahead and set that up using the Alpha Connect app right there. Okay, so let's go back over here. Let's see what else we have. We have Device Manager. So with Device Manager, I can control the different devices that I have on here. I can set, for example, it charges only, it plays media, on your audio, or remove device. So you can choose what to do whenever you hook up your device here. All right, so let's go back over here. Entertainment. So what we have here is different settings as well. Let's start from the top. Screen off, display brightness, we already saw that. The seek mode, so whenever you're seeking stations by pressing these buttons right here, or by pushing on the side of this knob right here, if you push to the left, it will seek in what direction. If you push to the right, it'll seek in the other direction, like that, or like this, right? So that's how that works. So what do you want to happen when you do that? So this is where you select that. So you want to go to favorites, or in stations list, or by frequency. That's how you control that there. The next item that we have here is the RDS. I'm not really sure what that is, to be honest with you. I never use it. The next thing that we have here is HD radio, whether you want to play your radio stations in HD mode or not, if it's available. So that's what that is there. The next thing that we have here is this autoplay. So when you hook up your phone, for example, will it start playing music automatically? So that's what that does there. Okay, so whenever you hook up an external device. Here we have the audio settings. We kind of took a look at that already, so let me just go back over here. So there's different ways to get to the same information as you guys can see. Bluetooth settings, same thing here. We already took a look at some of that information there, and this is to reset everything. Okay, so we took a look at that. Entertainment, phone, we're probably going to see some of the similar information as before, right? So that's what that is right there. SMS, you can get SMS notifications, so if you get a text, it'll show here what the text is. You can have it read it out loud to you as well, so that's kind of neat as well. The next thing that we have here is projection mode. I'm not really sure what that one is. I don't really use that. The next item is navigation. So on here we're going to be able to set different things: display brightness, appearance, how you want it to show up, I guess, visualization. We saw that you can change it to different options, like you have 2D, 3D, or different settings on there. Okay, live info on map, point of interest, route bar, and so on. As you can see here, different things that you can have on there. Here we have warnings. Okay, a speed limit warning, I don't think so. A speed camera on map, you can have that on there. All right, so let's see what else we got there. Route planning. Okay, so for route planning, you have different options on there. So everything that has to do with navigation, last mile navigation there, you can see here, automatic sending last mile to mobile. Okay, there you go. I haven't really used these features here, so I don't know too much about it. Map update, this is current version. I can see here information on the version of the map. Update map. So if you have a USB device with the update, you can go ahead and connect it and update the maps that way there. Okay, so that's what that is there. User manual update, same thing here. You can update the user manual. I've never done that, but it looks like you can use a USB to update the user manual as well. Okay, so let's go back over here. See, clear personal data. This is, you want to, you're selling your car, you want to get rid of it. I will probably never do that, but yeah, I guess you can go in here and delete everything. Okay, let's go back over here. Restore all settings. That's pretty obvious, self-explanatory. System, so let's see what we got here for system. Let's go back to the top. Auto on radio. So do you want the radio to come on automatically when you start the engine? Okay, so this is one of the things here. You can select it on, off, or recall the last station. So that's the options that you have there. Switch off delay. Okay, so when you want the radio to turn off. Software updates. Let's see what we have here. Update software. I wonder what this is right here. Same thing, it looks like you can update it through USB right there. Okay, map update, user manual update, kind of same thing that we saw in the other screen right there. Okay, so that's what that is there. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything. We've covered everything on the infotainment system for this 2023 Giulia Quadrifoglio. If you guys have any comments, anything that I missed, and you have questions on that, please comment below and let me know what you would like to know more about, and I'll be happy to get back to you guys. And before I wrap up the video here, I did want to mention that these vehicles appear to still be getting, as of 2025, still be getting over-the-air updates. I have seen something come up here on the screen that was saying, do you want to update certain different components on here, and you have the option here to select yes or no. So it appears that they're still doing updates for these cars, even though this car, it's already discontinued. You know, the 2024 was the last QV that was going to be available in America. But if you have the other vehicles, you know, like Stelvios or the other Giulia, then you may still be getting updates. So let me know in the comments if you still see those over-the-air updates or not. All right, guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys would like to see more of this content, please comment, share, subscribe, all those cool things, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.